Hey guys, I wanted to give you a tour of my garden today. It's changed a lot since you last seen it. It used to be like more of a food forest style, and then I would just like put plants in wherever there was some sun, but I actually took out the oak tree that we had. We used to have an oak tree back there, and we were worried that it was gonna fall on the house with a hurricane because it was kind of like leaning towards the house. So we ended up taking it out, and I'm really happy because I have so much more sun now, and the weeds are loving it as well, as you can see. But that's okay because you can still grow food even if you have some weeds. So I moved on to doing like 30-inch beds. You could see here how I use these nails. They're like, I think they're like for log cabins or roofing or something. They're these big nails that are like 12 inches long, and then I can just pull them out when I want to run my line to make my bed and then put them back in. You could step on them and shove them in. So I guess I'll start with the first row. Over here I have tomatoes, got like some cherry. I think this is I think it might be an indigo kumquat, or yeah, I think so. You can see that they're kind of yellow. Yeah. So I think this is the indigo kumquat. I mean, they're all kind of like growing all over the place. And here I have a sakura variety and apero. And I'm not sure which one is which because, again, they're growing all over each other, but they're like red. And I have more cherry. I attempted to try some logs, mushroom logs, unsuccessful for the second time. That did not work. Grabbed a basket so that I could put the things I harvest in here, and I'll have them laying all over the place. So here's Swiss chard. Normally it does better. They're like so beautiful, the color, but normally it grows a lot better. But I think where I put it, it's like too shady or something, and it's not liking it this year. And I started growing fennel for the first time. I'm not sure what it's called, but I think it's a fennel bulb. They're starting to size up. I've never really cooked with fennel or eaten fennel or done anything with fennel, so we'll see how it goes. And we have sorrel here. This does pretty well in South Florida. Got some marigolds. That's something else I've been getting into, just like planting some different flowers. And this is a dill flower. It's beautiful. You can eat these. And that one's kind of big, I think, but like this size I think would be a bit better because the stems can get woody. And over here I have like some cilantro. Yeah, that's going to flower. And got nasturtiums, and I had some borage that was growing, but it's died. This plant never really amounted to much, but there was like a really big plant here, but I don't even know what happened to it. It's dead now. And this is, I think it's called like Indian lettuce that I had here, and it was going to seed, and now it has tons of seeds that dropped, and now I have tons of plants coming up. I think they'll start coming up now with the hotter weather. And here I planted daikon radish and turnips. I think the turnips will do fine, but I'm not sure about the daikon radish because it's still kind of hot now. Like I should have done it earlier, but I mean I did grow some earlier in the season. And here we have kale. This is like dinosaur kale, and this is curly kale. This is red Russian kale. It's looking pretty good. Red Russian kale, for me at least, I find that it gets like tons of aphids. But curly kale and especially dinosaur kale does really well. And then collards. I have like these sticks here because I need to put in more plants. I have them, I need to put them in. And these are onions. I had some Chinese cabbage growing here, but I ended up harvesting that, and then I planted more onions. If you didn't know, onion seed goes bad very fast. So I decided to just start all the seed in the packet and then just buy new seed every year. But I'm trying to grow onions, and I think so far so good. I've never grown onions, so you can see here there's an onion bowl about that big. So let's see what happens. Over here I have carrots. I had grown carrots here, and then I harvested it, reseeded it, and then I have some carrots here. There's like some spotty germination here. This is Scarlet Nates, and then I tried, I think, I don't know if it's a hybrid, but it's from Johnny's Seeds, Bolero carrot. And then I actually bought some cattle panels and made an arch. I wanted to try to grow like some cucurbit species that, they need trellising, and I didn't have enough trellising. And underneath I grew lettuce. This is the Queensland lettuce variety. Does pretty well here. And I have some cucumbers. They're not doing well. Then they're getting eaten by bugs. But this is the Suyulong cucumber. They'll get a lot bigger than that, but these plants are not healthy. And then over here I tried planting, what is this variety? I think it's Chicago pickling. And it has these little cucumbers. I mean, you could still eat them like you would regular cucumbers, like in a salad and stuff. And this is kukuzi. Let me turn around. I feel like you get better lighting. This is kukuzi, and it hasn't set any fruit yet. I think this is a female flower because it's kind of fat here, but it's not. Yeah, it definitely is, because the males they don't have like that little thing here, but the leaves are like incredibly soft on this plant. They feel like a blanket. It's like the older ones, they're like more scratchy. This is like scratchy, but the younger ones are just really fuzzy. And then on this side I planted zucchino. It's like this Italian Cucurbita machata species that is normally grown for it's a pumpkin, but people grow it and they eat just the green ones, which is right here. There's one right here. So you see they grow long, kind of like a zucchino, like a zucchini. And you see that's the first one that I have. I think this one is also growing, but I'm getting caterpillars on them. I need to control for that. I've tried growing Seminole pumpkins before, but again, just tons of caterpillars. And I just have more lettuce down here. I'll probably do lettuce down here as long as there's some sun. And here I have like arugula in these little beds, and I planted daikon radishes in here. And you can see right there, that's a radish in there. And back here, I think this is like beach sunflower. I think it made its first flower. They're these really beautiful flowers that I got. I was like up in West Palm on the beach, and there was these plants flowering, and I took some seeds. And let's see how they do here. They're like kind of a ground cover. And I have some basil. Basil doesn't do that well, like anywhere really here. It gets a lot of fungal disease. But behind that I have eggplant, and I harvested a few the other day. They're still young, the plants, but they're starting to fruit. So let's find it. There it is. I'm growing mainly like the Asian varieties, which will do better in the heat, but I kind of like them better anyways, because the skins are not like too tough. And here I have my pride and glory of cabbages. So I planted a red and a green, and they were the same number of days to harvest, but the red has still not made heads. But this cabbage is pretty big. It's kind of interesting because it grew like really straight, like the stalk like is super straight. The other cabbage, I have, I think, some New Brunswick plants, but most of them are early Jersey Wakefield. This is, I'm pretty sure, an early Jersey. And I'm gonna be making sauerkraut with these cabbages. Hopefully get that done today. But they're just so beautiful. I love cabbages. They're like really fun to grow because, you know, they just get so big, and I really like to grow them. And here is, oh man, what's this variety of cabbage? Here we go. Tete Noir. It's like French, I think. Yeah, like a French cabbage, and it's red. And I feel like these heads are just not gonna get that big because I'm looking at this, and this is like very tight already, and it's tiny still. So that's unfortunate, but I'm gonna harvest these cabbages, make sauerkraut, and I have more plants I'm gonna put in, and I'm hoping that, you know, like up north, people grow their cabbages in the summer and, you know, like early fall, and then they harvest them and they store them. You could like store cabbages in a root cellar or the fridge. So I'm hoping that I could do that, but like this summer. So grow the cabbages, make sauerkraut, and then get a second round of cabbages, and then have cabbages in the fridge for the summer. And we have a second fridge now, so I could definitely do that. I'll have space. And over here we have broccoli. Broccoli is not the most productive thing, like per, what's it called, per, you know, like per the amount of area. You definitely don't get that much broccoli. This was like a rapini, but man, it was like so bitter that I stopped harvesting it. It was like incredibly bitter. Gonna grab the bucket to harvest the broccoli, but broccoli, I really like broccoli. That's why we grow it. I've tried to grow cauliflower, but it doesn't really make a head for me. I think it really likes the cold. So here we have, this is like Chinese broccoli. These are delicious and they do well here, and they're not bitter like the broccolinis. And you could just like stir fry these up. We have so much broccoli in the fridge. We've just been like harvesting it and not cooking it. And I mean, even if it has flowers, honestly, like the flowers are edible. You could just harvest it with flowers and eat it. Again, I have more broccoli plants to take out these and put in new ones. This year I was really trying to maximize like the amount of food I could grow, because I did the 30-inch beds that I'm trying to like really succession plant, so I have, you know, food for as long as possible. And this is actually, let me show you, this is a regular broccoli plant, and but basically I harvested the big head of broccoli. Like I harvested this, like you would just cut it off, and then it causes it to make these side shoots, and then you could just eat these like little broccolinis too. They taste just the same. They're just not as big. They're mini heads of broccoli. So broccoli does well. I mean, some people don't have broccoli do too well for them, but for me it does well. See, this is maybe because here, this is where I cut it. So then right here, there's like a little tiny broccoli coming out. This one's pretty good size. And then I just grab it, snap it off. There you go. And I have more broccoli here. Definitely need to make broccoli. Gotta steam it. I love steamed broccoli. So good. So my camera is overheating. It's so hot and sunny. And here we have our lettuce bed. So the lettuce is doing very well. We've had so much lettuce, it's been almost like a pain, like to harvest it, and like you always gotta harvest it because they're gonna like bolt on you. And just been giving away a lot of lettuce, but we got lettuce in here, a bunch of different varieties. We got like Salanova. This is like the Queensland lettuce, and you see this is flowering already. You can see there's like a little flower. So I gotta pull that out, and on the little holes, because it's like made with cinder blocks, I have cilantro and parsley. Is parsley here, and got dill back there. I wanted to plant sunflowers here because I did do that last year. I planted a few plants, but I haven't weeded this, and this is like insane, the amount of weeds. This is all like weed free, but you know, I got like caught up with things and I haven't weeded, and everything's looking so stressed from the heat. Like in the middle of the day, everything wilts. These are beets. Yeah, they're getting wilted from the heat, but they'll like perk up at night towards the end of the day. So here we have beets. I've never really been able to grow beets either until this year, so pretty happy with that. And this is Rubenza Cosmo that I planted. The flowers are actually like really red. They're like this dark pink red color, but they get like faded with the sun and they turn like light pink. But it's happy that it's growing. And I struggle with peppers. They get nematodes here and whitefly. So I've been like spraying for whitefly a bit with like soap, like soapy water. But they're doing decent. It's just the nematodes are gonna get them soon. I planted determinate tomatoes this year to try to make sauce, and it's going good. They're like Roma tomatoes or sauce making tomatoes. Let's see how they do. They're getting pretty tall. This is almost as tall as me. Not that tall. So, and I have over here more tomatoes on another cattle panel. I got some Asian greens here. This is tatsoi. And just trying to grow bigger tomatoes too. This is cherokee purple. There's some more fruits. I got like the Homestead tomato. It's a hybrid. This is indigo apple growing here. And I think that's pretty much the garden, and lots of weeds. I really got to weed. I'm gonna hand weed all this back here and mulch. I decided to not do any mulch in the rows because it's like a real pain when you're planting. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing just like weeding the walkways and the rows here, and then I'm gonna put some paper down, mulch this, and then hand weed that probably, or maybe put paper down too, or cardboard. We'll see. But it's okay if there's weeds. It's not ideal, but I mean the plants are still doing fine. So don't feel too discouraged if you have a bunch of weeds. As long as you don't have the weeds like all up in the plants, like choking them out, it's fine. I mean, that's what I've been trying to prioritize, like weeding around the plants. I gotta weed this over here. But once you weed and the plants get big, like see right here, like you could barely see the ground here. Like weeds are really not gonna grow, and if they do, they're gonna be like these really leggy, scraggly weeds that don't compete really with the plants. Oh, and this is blanket flower. I got seeds for this too. I saw these growing like wild up in like northeast Florida, and they were just like growing on the cracks of like the sidewalk, like in sand. So I was like, wow, I gotta plant these, and they're beautiful and they're doing so well. Oh, and lastly, we have cucamelons. Trying to grow cucamelon. I don't know how big they get. I've been eating them. They're good. They're like mini cucumbers. They're kind of lemony. Like, I'm trying to find things that do well, you know, because the cucumbers here don't do that well. So hopefully these do well. Look at how tiny they start. They're like so incredibly little. This is a do they have male flowers? Yeah, they definitely have male flowers. Well, this one's bigger. Look at that. We could also harvest tomatoes out here. This is an Ethiopian, this is an Ethiopian kale that's gone to flower. Just these things can get kind of like, you know, they'll pop up if you let them go to seed. I love tomatoes. We'll be freezing a ton of these tomatoes. And then we just like cook with them. Like when we need crushed tomatoes or something, we'll just throw a bunch of these into the pot. Got a little harvest, and now I'm gonna be harvesting the cabbage because I want to, what's it called? Make sauerkraut. So I'm gonna be harvesting cabbage and putting it in here. So I wanted to show you the mulberries. This is the variety Bryce's World's Best Mulberry. Whoop. They're loaded with fruit. They're so good. Look at this. Tons of baby fruits. They kind of have like a bit of a crop like in January into like early February. But now is when they're gonna come on strong now. This is gonna be insane, the amount of mulberries on this tree. Last year was crazy. They were like falling over the branches, almost touching the ground. Look at this. They're so ugly looking when they're little. They look like little worms. But they're delicious. And we'll be freezing that. I'm gonna make jam. I make mulberry vinegar. I even made mulberry wine last year that I still even haven't tried. So let's see how that experimentation works out. So I'm gonna harvest all the cabbages that are pretty sizable. And to harvest cabbages, you just kind of have to like grab it and you could twist, and then it breaks off the roots, and then you just break off all the leaves. Got a cabbage head. And just cut this off. It's kind of thick for these clippers. There we go. So this is how you pull it off. Just push the leaves down and it comes right off. Is it the size of my head? Almost. I've got a lot of heads. I should weigh this later and see how much it comes out to. Probably leave like 1 or 2 for fresh eating. And then I'll just make sauerkraut. Love sauerkraut. I planted these onions too close on purpose so that I can pull some up for using fresh. And honestly, I don't remember which one is the, I don't know, I like planted it and I was like gonna remember where it was, but now I don't remember. So I can add these to the sauerkraut. I like sauerkraut with onions. They're little onions. So let's see how many cabbages we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cabbages. This cabbage here looks like got eaten by some bugs. This was one of the smaller ones. Wonder what got to it. But it doesn't seem too bad. But it definitely got bored in there by something. Have to cut it out. So I'm gonna go make my sauerkraut now. I hope you like the garden tour. Bye.